So, greetings everybody. I'm here to teach you the leveling operations for civil engineering, as you can see on the top of this page itself. Now, I think you all are familiar with what is leveling. Just in case if you're not familiar, let me tell you. Leveling is basically, as per civil engineering, leveling is basically the study of measurements of heights or anything in the vertical plane. So it's all about the heights and the altitudes and the depths, etc. So in civil engineering, we must be knowing that always measurements are taken in either a horizontal plane or in a level plane or in a vertical plane. So in this case, we are just going to determine something which is as per the heights, not on the. Yes, we will involve this in calculations, but mostly it will be actually as per the height. Okay, so let's begin with it. Now, as you see on the screen, basically, or rather on the copy, you can see that there is a ground surface which I have drawn just for you, right? And there is a blue color dotted line, which is also you can see over there. Now, what is this blue color dotted line? This is the datum line. We call it as a datum line. If you can zoom in, you can just see it. So, what is a datum line basically? A datum line is a reference line or a reference surface from which all the altitudes are actually taken. Now, our point of concern is actually to find out the altitude, say, for example, at this place, or this place, or this place, wherever you feel like on the ground level. Okay, so this is basically our task. We know one of them. Using this, or with the help of this, using this as a reference, we'll find out different points location. Okay, so just for your ease of understanding, let me locate one point over here. I think you can just see it over here. I just drew it. Let me look at another point over here. Say another point. See, these are all random points. There is no such restriction that you have to consider these points over here. Just for your sake of understanding, I have, I have determined these points. So, what is the thing which we need to do? We need some accessories. What are the accessories? The accessories are nothing but these things. I'm writing it over here. The accessories are, we need auto level. Sometimes it is used in the form of dumpy level. It is an instrument. It's an instrument through which has a telescope and which basically has a line of collimation, line of sight, so you can see through the telescope. Okay. Now, what you are going to see through the telescope? It's not me. It's not you. It's basically a ruler-like thing, the one which you have in your stationery bag, in your pencil boxes, etc., etc. But the ruler inside your pencil box may be of 15 centimeters, sometimes it is of 30 centimeters. In this case, we also have a ruler which is almost as long as 4 meters to 5 meters. We call it as a leveling stuff. And a stand to actually put this on. So that's all we need. And there is a tripod stand. Just for your reference, I have mentioned it. So there are three things which you need. One is the auto level or a dumpy level, a machine basically, leveling stuff, and a tripod stand. Now let's proceed forward towards how the setup is happening. Say this is one point. As you can see on your screens that there is one red color mark point which is marked differently, like unlike the other ones, right? Now, why is it marked with red? Why there must be some significance, and you can see also that there is certain distance which is actually measured from the datum line to that line, right? Now, what is that distance actually? Now, this green color, whatever you see over here, it is nothing but the RL of this point, the reduced level of this point. What is meant by the term reduced level? The reduced level means how much this point is above the datum surface. In this case, if you zoom inside, you will see that this is actually 100 meters right over here. Apologies for my small handwriting, but I actually have to accommodate so many things over here. That's why the small handwriting. Okay. If you need, technology is there. You can just zoom inside and you can just get the whatever you need. Okay. So this is a 100-meter RL. Now the question is, who determined this RL? To answer this, let me tell you, somebody or some group of or some teamwork has done certain calculations, and that team has actually come till this point, and this is the last point where they actually left the operations. Your task will be to actually carry forward the calculations in this pattern, carry forward the operation in this pattern. So basically from here you need to proceed to this point, and to this point, and to this point, and to this point. And what you are actually trying to achieve? The distances from this and from this. So basically in a nutshell, the RL of all these stations which I have just now marked. Clear? This is the summary. So we need to do this. So mind you, there is this point whose RL is only known, and we do not know anyone's RL yet. We have to figure it out all by our operations. Okay, that is why the topic leveling operations. Now how do you actually achieve it? First of all, you need this auto level and you need this tripod stand to actually fit somewhere. So let me just draw it for you to ease up your work. There is one stand which I'm drawing, and there is one telescopic instrument. Hopefully it is visible. Yep. So this is basically the tripod stand, and on the tripod stand we have an auto level basically. Okay. Now you have set up the instrument, but you do not know where to look, right? So let me just tell you how, where, and how to look. Now you will use this leveling stuff, which is basically a ruler-like object, and you will put it over here. Now what is the specialty of this place? This place is known as a benchmark. I'm shortening and writing over here. It is written as BM, and the full form of this is known as benchmark. What is the specialty of this? The specialty of this is the only point in this entire figure whose RL is known, and that is why it is considered as a benchmark. Benchmark is supposed to be that only point whose RL is known and no other points RL is known. We have to determine this. Okay, so that is a specialty. And any staff reading, we will take this. Suppose this is the stuff. We will take this and we'll just put it over here. And you can see that basically, if I look through this, it will cut somewhere on the stuff, right? And there will be a reading which will be obtained at this point. We will just see what it is. Let me just put the stuff over here. Yup. So there you go. And it has certain markings on the side. As I've told you, it behaves just like a ruler in your stationery box, right? So you're looking towards this. Fine. Let me draw the line of vision for you. Yeah. You can see that this is the line of vision. I'm looking towards it with a dotted arrow. Now, why is this line a dotted line? Because it is an imaginary line. We can just imagine, but we'll never see the line of vision, right? You can never see a line of vision. Any line which is dotted, drawn over here, is simply an imaginary line. Just like this blue color line which we have over here. This line is a dotted line, imaginary. This is a dotted line. This is also an imaginary line. So you can see that for local calculations, this is an imaginary surface. As you can see, I have already mentioned. Now, generally it is taken as mean sea level, but wherever you do not get sea, or wherever you're not nearby sea, so obviously you have to imagine it, because if you want to actually get the sea level, you have to dig up the earth, which is a huge task and an impossible thing, and truly a very a very what shall I say? It's very absurd to actually do this. Okay. Anyway, so let's get back to the discussion again. So we have a line and we have cut somewhere over here, right? So you can see that we have just cut somewhere over here. Now there is a distance. It starts from 0 over here and it gradually increases up till 5 meters, right? So we will get some distances over here. Let me just say that this distance is, say, it's 2 meter. Fine. Excellent. Now, what am I going to do with this 2 meter and how am I going to plot it down on a piece of paper? For this, you need to make a table. Simply, you have to make a table. So the first table, the thing which we have to write first is basically the station. This is where all the readings will be recorded. Next, you come to the chainage of these stations. Now this is a not so important a thing which will be recorded in meter. Not so important, but then again, just for the records, you can have it. And next you come as site readings. Now underneath you will have three different columns, which we'll call as backside, intermediate site, and foresight. That's it. Now, what is this backside, intermediate side, and foresight? Site readings basically means these blue color lines. Now, obviously, after we are done with this station calculation, we'll take this and we'll put it somewhere over here. Now, over there also, we will get certain site readings, right? So we will actually have to fill out those observations in either this, or this. Now, where to put what? That is what are my point of interest. All right. So this being the first station, station number 1. So we are currently standing at station number 1, right? So, and right at this point, our chain edge distance means basically how much is this distances from the starting point, or this distance from the starting point. So since this is the starting point, obviously the chain edge will be 0 because we are right at the 0 point. Correct. Now at this point we have a site reading, right? So we have a site reading, and where do we write this? The first site reading or the site reading on the benchmark is always considered as a back site reading, and that is why you are supposed to write it over here. Now this thing is over. This station 1 is sorted. Now let's move this to somewhere over here. So I have to draw it further. Now you see that I have located the leveling stuff right from station 1 to station 2. Now you have come to station number 2. Say this distance, say it is 10 meters. It can be anything. It can be 10, 20. I told you it's not a very significant thing. It's just a record keeping thing. Fine. Now, obviously, you will turn this and you will basically rotate it like this, and you will look towards this, and via this you will actually cut somewhere over here. So let me make the cutting for you. There you go. Obviously you will get another set of readings. It starts from 0 and it will end somewhere over here itself. So as you can see from the geometry of this very specific figure, it is a little bit more than 2, right? This distance over here is actually shorter than this distance, or this is larger than this. So whatever value you will have over here will be more than this. Say this is 3 meter. These are all assumed values, not to be scaled. Correct? It's 3 meters. You understood it? Going by the topography and going by the terrain, we are actually figuring out things. Correct? So we are also done with this. Now, this thing is 3 meters, right? Now, where shall I write this? 2 meter, we have already written somewhere over here. 3 meter, where shall I write? Should I write it over here or over here or over here? That is the question. Now, it says that the first reading is always backside. Now, obviously, there is only one first reading, and obviously, there will be one last reading of the same setup, right? So, the first reading will be written over here. The last reading will be written under the foresight column, and anything in between will be written under the intermediate side. So you can see, and how do you manage to know which one is the first and which one is the last? With this setup, how far can you see? You can see at the max till this one. With this setup, you cannot see any staff reading if I keep it right over here, right? So this becomes the final set of reading. So whatever you record over here will be actually falling under the foresight. Whatever you have recorded over here is the first reading, has already fallen under the back side. So anything in between will be always recorded in the intermediate side. As simple as that. How much is it? It is 3 meters. So we have sorted the second setup. Again, as I have told you, third station, we go over here, and We again look through the same instrument setup and we cut somewhere over here, if I'm not wrong. Right, so now obviously you will see that there is a small amount of stuff reading which you still get it. Obviously it is less than 2, less than 3. So let me consider it as say 1 meter. Again, I'm telling these are just random numbers, not to be scaled. It is just for your benefit that I'm writing such, rounded off numbers, okay? And as you can see that you cannot see anything which is beyond this setup after this. Yes, you can see it obviously, but it ends somewhere over here. If you want to see the next station stuff reading, obviously you have to shift this instrument to somewhere over here, right? Only then you will be able to see them. So this becomes the last set of reading in this entire setup. So we are currently in station number 3. There you go. Suppose from this distance to this distance, this is say 5 meters. So what is the chainage of this point is actually calculated from here. So यहाँ से यहाँ you have 10 meters and from here to here you have 5 meters. So the total distance is 15 meters. And finally you come up with the last reading, which is 1. So there you are sorted with 1, 2 and station number 1, station number 2 and station number 3. Now as I have said already that you actually cannot continue the same setup of readings beyond this. So we have to shift the station, and also we have to extend this a little bit. I've drawn it in a very wrong way. Hopefully you can now understand. I have to write the station number 3 somewhere over here. Apologies for this. All right, because whenever I have to shift the station somewhere over here, anywhere, you can put it anywhere as per your convenience, so that the maximum coverage is attained. So if I want to see at this point any reading, so the line of sight must be around some, and also I have to see this because this is now the last known point, right? So now we have to just take the instrument somewhere over here. For my convenience, I am putting it over here. This is the second setup. Now, I could have put this over here also. I could have put it over here also. Doesn't matter. All I just want to know is I can see this station, because once we have shifted this station to somewhere at this point, you need to make sure that you can see the staff reading, keeping the staff at the same point. If you cannot see this reading, if you cannot actually see this stuff, it is pointless. You have to change this station to somewhere over here. The condition lies in choose the station in such a way so that you can see the staff reading from the last known point. So technically I can see it through. This is my new staff reading. Right, so now the thing is that where shall I write it? This is station number 3 and we are still at station number 3. So where shall I write this? It's a $1,000,000 question. Now you see that we have not moved into station number 4. We are still at station number 3. So what to write over here? You have one reading over here and you will have another reading on this side, right? The moment you look from this side, you will have different reading. So this reading is another legitimate reading. And this is the first reading for the new setup. And just like I've said, whatever is the first reading falls under the back side. So basically you will have a new set of reading. Say this is it's long enough, so I can call it to be 5 meters, or acha chalo, it is 5 meters, no problem in that. So this new reading is actually to be written somewhere over here. At point 3, station number 3, you have two different readings. One, basically the last of this setup, and 2, the first of the new setup. Clear? Again, this is done. From here, again, we have to take this leveling stuff somewhere at this station, which is station number 4. As you can see, that station number 4, we have already shifted this, and This station number 4 is well visible from this new setup of dumpy level. I'm sorry. This is 5 meters. Obviously, this looks less than 5 meters. Say we call it as 4 meter. So this is the new setup, station number 14, station number 4, and say this distance is again 5 meter. So yahan se, I'm sorry, from here till here you have 15. 5 more, so it becomes 20. So the total distance is 20 and the total chainage becomes 20 itself. I'm writing it in this fashion so that you do not lose out on the sentence markings. So how much is it? It will be, now you see this is not the last station. Last station will be somewhere, because you can equally see this station, you can equally see this station, you can equally see this station. So this is the first of the new setup, this is the last of the new setup. So whatever you record over here will be under backside, as we have already sorted. Whatever you record over here will be the foresight somewhere over here, and whatever is in between will be recorded in the intermediate side. So my dear, 4 meter is actually the intermediate distance. Intermediate side, I'm sorry. So this will fall under this. Station 4 is again sorted. Now we go to station number 5. We just rotate the telescope horizontally so that we can see on the other side. So now the side is on the other, and you can already guess that this is much less than 4 meter. We call it, say, as 2 meter. So this 2 meter will be again in station number 5. Say again this distance is 5 meters, so this will be increased by 5. We are still at intermediate side because this is not the final destination, and that is why we will write it at 2 meters. And lastly, we have station number 6. Apologies for this indiscreet drawing. I hope I can explain to you at the best possible with the best possible resources which I have. And obviously it is lesser than 1 meter, lesser than 2 meter. We call it, say, 1 meter. So this was station number 5. This was station number 6. So now we are completely done with this. Again, say this distance is 5 meter, this distance is 5 meter. So this increases by again 5. And lastly, we will complete the setup at this. So you see, every setup starts with a backside and ends at foresight. Again, this setup has started from the backside, intermediate side, and again ended at foresight. That is the thumb rule of this. So right now, whatever we have done, we have just recorded the readings. We didn't even do any calculation. We have just recorded the readings, and that is one lesson. How to record the readings. Clear? Now the next thing will be actually to sort the RLs of different places, and that will be actually discussed in the next video. Thank you so much.